Ashes of Creation, you guys have heard about this game before, is now charging $120 for alpha access. Now, there's been a lot of people that are upset about this and talking about it. So what I figured I would do is I would just pull up the actual image and talk about it and look about it myself, rather than letting somebody else tell the story. You guys ready? Let's take a look at it.
A thing that you guys keep asking us for.
This is the original text.
Oh my God, we have got ticket after ticket after ticket. We have gotten a lot of commentary about this. I know that we have made statements in the past about how we're going to approach releasing that.
Bro, look at chat. Here we go. Why is that? Not like this. Jesus Christ. Priced. Finessed me after out of 250. Here we go. Oh no. Here we go. Get ready to swipe. Uh-oh.
New keys. To be clear, these Alpha 2 access keys are just the keys. This is a significant departure from what historically we have done with regards to pre-order packages, having virtual currency, having playtime when the game launches, having multiple access and access to beta 1 and 2. These keys will just have access to Alpha 2, and they will have access to different phases of Alpha 2. It is extremely important. To remember, you are not purchasing access to a game.
Hold. Bad time for ads. $5 off. Buy. What? Bruh. Lols. Ha ha ha. All right, fair. Hold. What? Should have waited. Not bad. Good prices. 100 for just the key. Let's go. 10,000 euro. Pa ha ha. Some phases. Prices as predicted. LOL. $120 and doesn't even come with game time at launch. Uh-oh.
Game. You are not purchasing access.
I love reading the chats.
And early access. You are purchasing access to testing Alpha 2. So that is a very important aspect of these different items. Margaret, do you want to talk a little bit about...
I don't know if that's really better or not, but okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and we're keeping in mind the people who have purchased before as well. We know that our community has definitely expressed concern in regards to that. So hopefully, I know we're not going to please everybody.
Let's read the chat again. Oh, what? Huge L. You're crazy. 7 months of Alpha 2. Do I have access for it? Wait, $100 to test an alpha? Haha, the price is way too high for no game time. LMFAO, haha. Greed. Paid to test is wild. Alpha 3 third wave can't access until 2025. Brokey dead. Jesus fuck. No cosmetics, no game for $100? Are you crazy? That's an L. Lol. Ha 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 ah ha 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 ha. Scam. Broke boys pay it.
Steven and I have said that many times to ourselves. We're like, we're trying to be as fair as possible as we can be. But how this is going to work is all three of these keys will be available to you on Wednesday, August 21st, 2024
Way too low.
at 11 a.m. Pacific. That is going to be next Wednesday. So for those of you who are with us watching this live on Friday,
what a greedy
that is going to take place. Each of these will end at a certain date or until supplies last. Mm-hmm. So we will have a number that we are looking at internally in order to make sure that we can service those users, have the capacity in order to make sure you have a good experience in Alpha 2. Mm-hmm. But if we hit those supplies, then we will let you know in advance, like, hey, we're going to start taking this down at this date, if it is before that date. But we're hoping that we won't have to do that, and it should end around.
Somebody in chat says, how are people mad at this? The game is being developed. If you want to help, purchase the test key. If you don't lose anything, just support the game development. I'll talk. I want to give my opinion, but I want to go ahead and just kind of like let the whole thing play out first, okay?
Around the time lots that are there that you can see on the screen here. And then, so...
And just real quick, it's important to note, I just want to hammer this home again, and content creators, please help me with this as well. You should not be buying a key to Alpha 2 if you're expecting to play a game.
Yeah, don't get first wave, especially.
Especially first wave. The great thing about us not having an NDA is that if you want to see the game's progress and not from a developer's perspective, you can see other people playing this game and you can see the progress of.
I don't think it's going to be possible for Steven to communicate that, regardless of whether he thinks that it's true or not. And the reason why is because I think that the real value proposition with the $120 is access to being able to play the game. And so it's like, if you tell people this isn't what it's for, people are still going to buy it for that reason. And it's an instance of like where the company, that like, it's like the customer is always right, where you can tell the customer this isn't what you're buying, but everybody is going to think that that's why they're buying it. That's just what's going to happen. Like it's really a communication issue, and the problem is that with like this already kind of happened with like the $500 Alpha 1 test, and you guys remember this where they let people into the Alpha 1 that were that had donated $500 or more to the project. So people turned that into, you have to spend $500 to access the alpha. I think the entire situation is, well, I'll let me finish. I'll let this finish. So people were like primed to be mad. Excuse me. The people were primed to be mad about this.
The game. You are not going to miss out on anything if you do not participate in Alpha 2. You're going to be able to see other people playing the game. Persistence doesn't carry over into the live launch of the game. It's going to be a brand new, fresh start when it comes to the launch of Ashes of Creation. So there's nothing that you're missing out on if you do not participate in Alpha 2. We are releasing these A2 keys because two reasons. One, we need additional testers as we move forward in these phases. And why do we need that? Because ultimately what happens in every MMORPG is you have some sect of retention within cohorts. And that retention is always going to be at a downward angle from your starting user cohort. So it's important to keep in mind that as phase 1 goes through and as phase 2 goes through and as phase 3 goes through, we will be introducing new users and new testers who do want to participate in testing an alpha, not looking at it from a gameplay being a fun and completed game perspective, but who want to help shape the form of what Ashes of Creation intends to be by offering good and actionable feedback, by creating bug reports for us, by crashing and being a test dummy for us, right? Those are
I think that it would go a lot better if Steven said, listen, guys, making this game's expensive and we need some money. Like, we got to make some money. This shit's expensive. We're trying to make this happen. We got to get some money out of this. That's the way it is. Like, because, like, effectively, if you need people to test the game, logically putting a paywall behind that of $120, it seems kind of counterintuitive, right? And also, like, I think that it's very obviously capitalizing on FOMO about people trying to get the experience of playing the game for the first time. And I think that's defined by them. They've defined that. That's why Alpha 2 first wave is 120, the second one is 110, and the third one is 100. So the fact that they're tiering out access to the game, and the earlier that you can be able to access the game is perceived as a value add, I think that defines the fact that they view being able to access the game early as a value add. This is that's the whole reason. So, like, they're capitalizing off of the FOMO while saying this isn't the FOMO. Well, your own marketing says that it's the FOMO. That's why it's tiered in different approaches. What's FOMO? Well, and again, I don't even have a problem with them doing this. This is my honest opinion. I don't care if they do this or not. Give a fuck. Like, Star Citizen sells ships for $40,000. Like, I don't care. Like, you want to do this? Like, you want to charge money to play the beta? Go ahead. Alpha, go ahead. I don't care. Like, I just want to play the game when it comes out. Like, if it's good, then I'll play it. If not, then I don't really give a shit. But I can easily see where this rubs people the wrong way because most people don't have a lot of money, and it's another dynamic. I think that, so, and this goes into, like, if you abstract this a lot more, you can talk about like the idea of like why people play MMOs. And I think one of the reasons why people play MMOs is because they are a equal playing field for people, right? Like you go into real life and how did you get this job at this investment company? Well, I wake up at 5 in the morning, I do meditations, I work out, and then I, read news, I have a balanced breakfast, and then I do all that before 7 a.m., and then I go into work. And also my dad owns the company. So, like real life is kind of unfucking fair, right? Like that's it, it's unfucking fair. And so people like being able to play MMOs because MMOs effectively turn the power dynamic of real life upside down, where the people that have a lot of time in video games usually don't have a lot of money in real life, generally, right? Because they're not working. And it gives people that are, like young guys in a lot of cases, let's be honest, the ability to compete on what they perceive to be an even playing field, even though it's really not an even playing field. Like if you are a doctor, you're like a resident doctor, you work in an emergency room, you have a insurmountable disadvantage against a 19-year-old stoner that lives with his mom. He will beat you in a video game every single time because of the way that your lives are structured, and that's it. That's all there is to it. So it's not that MMOs are an even playing field, but in a certain way they are. It's the amount of time that you put into the game is directly proportional to what you get out of the game, even though some people have an abundance of time in a way that other people do not. And this is something that a lot of people like to have MMOs for. This is the value that people have in MMOs. Playing an MMO was the first time that I wasn't considered a retarded kid. How many of you guys were the same way? I wasn't a stupid kid. I was the tank. I was the raid leader. I was the one that people were listening to because I knew what I was talking about. Not true, right? And so this matters a lot for guys. And so the more that you create an anachronism of effectively the real life unfairness that people are trying to escape with MMOs inside of an MMO, it's antithetical to what people want out of an MMO. Do you see what I'm saying here? Do you see kind of like why this is becoming such a problem with this community? And it took me a little bit of time to explain that, but I hope you guys can get it. Tough shit, get over it. Okay, I mean, like, sure, right? Sure, I'm just explaining why people are upset.
Elements of why a person who wants to participate might be encouraged to then purchase a key, not because they're purchasing access to early access.
I also want to make a clarification. If you purchase,
well, they are purchasing access to early. They are purchasing access to early access. They are, because like it's literally a key. It's shaped like a key. It has an A for ashes, and it's an invite. Like, what do you mean?
First wave, you get access to Alpha 2 starting on that date, and you get...
I think that, again, like, do you remember what I said before about, like, the reason why we haven't done Pixel Pitch is we need a sponsor for Pixel Pitch? Like, we need to make some fucking money with the show. I think that people appreciate that type of honesty, and in a world where inauthenticity has become the norm, I think that there's a growing resentment for it. And I actually think that the problem isn't actually with the business plan. It's with the presentation of the business plan. That's my perspective.
Second, you're gonna play Alpha 2 for the rest of Alpha 2. If you get second wave, you're gonna have that date you start, and you get to play all the way to. You don't have to buy all 3 keys. That is not how it works. Just buy one key, and you get access to Alpha 2. So that is how it works. I just want to make that very clear. You don't buy all 3. You just buy one, and then you get access from that date to the end of Alpha 2.
That's correct. Yep.
You do not get access to beta. This is only Alpha 2 access. If you want beta, we will maybe be offering another option for a beta in the future. But
they shouldn't have said that. They should have just not said that. That's not a good thing to say. Like, yeah, that's a bad thing. Like that. Yeah, you should not have said that.
Right now, we're focused on Alpha 2 at the moment.
Why they're being honest? Because the problem is that, well, I mean, you want to know the real reason why? It's that I think if you buy an alpha key, you should get into the beta automatically. It's insane that you have to make 2 separate purchases for an alpha and a beta. That's crazy.
We won't be bringing back pre-order packs. We've already said that before. So it will just be in the future, if we do decide to increase the amount of people in beta 1 or beta 2, it would be similar to this in the sense that it will be a key that you purchase for just that access. And it's not a code key. It's just access. You're gaining access to the game. You're not getting a code or a key that you're giving out to anybody.
And
well, I mean, isn't a code the access to the game? You put in the code, you get access. I mean, maybe I'm misunderstanding.
As Margaret said at the beginning, like, we fully understood and expected that this is going to be the spiciest of topics when it comes to access to the game, right? And there's not going to be a price that's going to please everybody.
No.
I mean, that's just the bottom line.
Well, there is. It's $0, but they don't want to do that.
And with regards to the 2 objectives that releasing the additional keys provides, the first one again was providing the testers that we need in order to shape the game the right way. The second is there are a lot of people who want to participate that didn't know about Ashes of Creation 6 months ago, that didn't know about Ashes of Creation 4 months ago, that are learning about Ashes of Creation today.
That may learn about Ashes of Creation in May of next year.
Tomorrow, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
But
why? We need to have avenues for those audiences to access the game. And
I mean, this is an invented problem, right? This is like, it's kind of like how games, like gacha games, will put like a resin system into the game, so you have to like spend money to like get out of it. Like you've invented this problem because, like, if somebody didn't know about Monster Hunter, for example, or like Genshin Impact, they could just go and play the game, right? There's no barrier to entry. Like, you're creating the barrier to entry. So like, what's the logic in if you have new people coming into the game? Then, just a second. If you have new people coming into the game, the best way to serve them is to add a $120 barrier to entry? How does that make... I think they really could have... they really could have done a better job with the messaging with this.
And what we've done here is we've approached it taking a look at the value of alpha access within the previous packages that we've offered as it relates to
if the value at
other components of those packages, the game time, the virtual...
Well, I mean, if the value add of alpha access exists, then why did you say earlier that this isn't you buying access to the game? I mean, I think that Steven and the team could have done such a better job by just saying, guys, listen, running this shit's expensive. It's taken longer than we've expected. Inflation is high. We're low on money. We're charging $120 for the alpha. It is what it is. We're going to try to get some people in through a lottery system as well. But if you want to bypass it, you've got the key. If they just did that, like, this should have been a 2-minute segment, and people, it's like a take it or leave it type situation. Yeah, you rip the fucking Band-Aid off. And the more that you try to talk around people doing this and anything like that, and here's the problem, is that when you try to make sense out of something that doesn't make sense to somebody, they're going to act like you're insulting their intelligence. And that's going to make them mad because you're pretending like they're stupid. You see what I'm saying? You got to be immediately direct with people. That's it. That's all there is to it. And I've tried, like, and I remember I had a time, so do y'all remember whenever I used to tweet that I was going to miss a stream, and I would tweet the reason why I was going to miss the stream? And then people in the responses of the comments would, like, try to figure out ways to think that that's a dumb reason for missing a stream. And I had a girlfriend at the time, And she said, what the fuck are you doing trying to give them a reason? Just say you're not going to be on, period. That's it. It's that simple. And I did that from now on. And that was the smartest fucking thing. It might have been the smartest thing she ever fucking said. She was right. It was. Like, absolutely. Yeah, none of their fucking business. Yeah. Now she's gone, guys. But no, I'm just saying, like, in general, right? No is a complete sentence, exactly. And so, like, the more that you drag shit out and try to explain it, the worse it gets. I think people are more mad about the price. He was pretty straight up, in my opinion. I don't think so. I really don't think so. And I know Steven is a great salesman, right? Like, he had a background in sales. Yeah, like, he's got a background in sales. I think that's where he made a lot of his money. And so, like, I'm surprised that they're going with this approach. I don't think this is the right approach.
Currency for the cosmetics themselves and their
were a
value.
deal.
Right. So comparatively, like,
Yeah, see, like, this is all like assigning value to theoreticals, stuff like this, right? Like, better build the FOMO as much as possible. Those that didn't know about it still find an upgrade. Like, I mean, people are still upset about this. No, like, some people say it's totally fine. Bad PR, in my opinion. Money makes the world go round. Yeah.
I would ask that some of the content creators also help to articulate and enumerate what the value proposition is between those two when we think about that from a comparative standpoint.
Who knows?
Other thing to note here is that we haven't provided an end date for Alpha 2. I think people are asking about that and want iteration on it, but we'll end Alpha 2 when we feel it's ready.
That's why I'm not helping them. I am helping them. I am. And I think that Steven's a smart guy. I've talked to Steven before. I think he, like, when he sees what I'm saying, he'll be like, yeah, I can see where you're coming from. For sure. They're not stupid. Yeah, giving it straight. Yeah, like, we gonna watch the same clip that we just watched again? No. Like, you tell people straight up.
So we want to make
Absolutely.
sure, as you saw in that phase 3 slide, there are some things that we want to ensure that we make sure that we get. And there's some additional features and systems that we'd also like to get in there for Alpha 2 that are not listed on that page. So we will kind of extend that Alpha 2 for as long as we feel it's necessary. So you will get a good chunk of time to play the game and test it. Obviously, towards the end there, you'll be playing more of a game. For the beginning, it's going to be very much like Steven said. You're not really playing a game, you're testing it. And it's going to be, a lot more basic systems versus as we get later in the phases, you'll see more of those intricacies come online.
And so I know the next section that we have is
It's like, bro, like, this reminds me of, like, like, you're, like, hunting an animal and, like, the animal's, like, running away from you and you're just, like, it's, like, dying, obviously, but you're just, like, not shooting it. It's just, like, happening. Like, bro, like, the longer you let this go on, the worse it gets. Like, it's the fastest thing. I like the team, but this is indefensible. No, it's like...
AMA. And before we get into the AMA, I want to close by saying this.
Okay.
For the deck. 2 important points. First, with regards to what we're doing with Alpha 2, the testing that it entails, the incomplete status of the game, right? What we've talked about, this is not a completed game. One thing I love about our community, and that me having played many different MMOs, as many of you have, it can be difficult to find a community, in my opinion, as genuine as ours, and as welcoming and inviting and polite as ours. Not everybody is going to like what we're doing from a gameplay perspective. Not everybody is going to like the visuals of the game. Not everybody is going to like the monetization strategy of selling the keys. Not everybody is going to like cosmetics.
This is good messaging. This is good right here.
Everybody is going to like PvP. There is a very eclectic crowd of MMORPG players, and we are not building an MMO for everyone. And we know that, and we accept that, and that's a truth. There is a specific section of the market share that is going to be interested in Ashes creation. When those people who are not interested
and you can see people, you see the chat.
One of those things comes into our community and says things that may ruffle your feathers. I would implore you to continue the upstanding tradition that our community has had over the course of these last several years and be polite. Give them the proper advice and direction when it comes to how we as other human beings who live behind a screen should interact with each other. Right? We are one community. We're a gaming community.
And you could
we
get
are
them
gamers.
to change their mind too, right?
No, yeah. I
That
mean,
is the biggest thing.
Yeah,
like they could become part of our community if they just understood like where we're coming from too.
Well, that speaks to being a good representative. And again, what I would say is we are one gaming community. We are all gamers together. We have different interests, and that's okay. And we have different thoughts, and some of us can be more abrasive than others, and that's okay too. But what I would ask of our community, and content creators, help me hit this home too, is that we are inviting of other opinions. We are inviting of other thoughts, and that we don't pounce, we don't attack, and we don't mistreat. We follow that golden rule, and we can be good stewards of this community and good representatives, like Margaret said. And by doing so, we will attract more users to this game. So please, I would tell you, as my fellow gamers, let us represent the best of us.
Yeah, if he had just said that's way better. He should have started with that. That would have been way better, right? Much better communication. I think it's pretty obvious to see why people are pretty upset about what he said and everything. I think it definitely makes sense. Much better statement. Yeah, it is. And so anyway, what do I think about this? What's my perspective on it? My personal opinion on this whole thing is that I think it's not really a surprise that a lot of people are angry about this. And I think it makes sense, too. It really does. Like, the reason why it makes sense is that it's very clear that they are capitalizing on FOMO because they're charging different prices for the different wave tiers. You see what I'm saying? Third wave, second wave. Why is the third wave less than the first wave? Well, it's because of FOMO. That's the reason why. So if they had just come out and said, like, listen, like, we need to make some money, this is the way it is, etc., and, just plan that out, then I think it would have been fine. But I think that going and, like, trying to explain about, like, how it's actually a good value for people, it's really not a very good value proposition to say that. And that's why it's better to just focus on the support aspect instead. So check the loads of bootlickers in the comments. So many gamers have completely lost their standards. What they do charge for money is something they used to pay someone to do. Yep, there you go. It's insane. Nobody should be defending this. I actually don't think it's a big deal. I really don't. Here's what I think they should do. I think they should also do a lottery system. Because right now, like, so the problem is that the feeling is that the only way that you can get in is by paying money. But if you have a lottery system, you can keep people hopeful for the fact that more people can get into the beta, and you can use that lottery system as a backfilling device to offset the problem that Steven was talking about with people like the cohort issue, where, like, when a player base declines, it declines because it declines and it becomes a vicious cycle, right? So I actually think that they could leverage this in a way that would be beneficial. And they could also say that if you're a really big supporter and you want to be in on day one and, you want to pay a bit extra money, listen, money's tight, inflation's fucking everybody, probably not just like that, but, it's a lot of money to make this game. And so, yeah, we're offering a package for you to join on day one if you want to pay for it, but we also have a lottery, right? That's it. Lottery system. Yep, that's the old Mr. Beast method, right? And sell merch with it. Yeah, maybe Margaret can sign Steven's name. And so, yeah, let's see here. Looks at the comments. This is why companies do this shit. There's a lot of people that eat this shit up and defend the company. Well, here's the reason why they defend it. People have already emotionally invested into the idea that Ashes of Creation is going to be the next big MMO, and it's the thing that they're really excited about. And I have not been some intrepid apologist. These prices are fine. There's no reason why they are or are not fine. This price, you're not buying a full, like, what is the logic here? How, like, where is they're fine, according to what? Like, if somebody, like, Assassin's Creed got shit on for selling a game that had a $120 version, You can buy Assassin's Creed for like $70 or $60 or something like that, right? So that's a full game. So what's the logic and the anchoring here that selling the ability to not even really fully play, but instead just simply test a game for a premium that is higher than for a baseline that is higher than the premium for other AAA games that are fully released is, right? Like, I don't understand how this is, like, the prices are fine. I hate it. It makes me so fucking everything. It's just a video game. There's no reason to get mad. It's just a game. This is an overpriced product. Say it. Be direct. And be honest. That's all I ask. We should get paid for testing the game. I actually think that Steven could do something like that would work really well. Like, if Steven wants to... What if he did something where it was like... The amount of bugs that you report, but if they did that, then they'd probably get too many reports and it would be too problematic. If every successful bug that you put out that gets fixed and addressed by a developer, the first person who submits that bug, that it could be like some sort of like, I'm thinking of like a Boy Scout badge, you know, like of all the little badges that you would have. Like, I think that would be a really cool idea for them to do that. Like a bug bounty? Yeah, something like that. That's actually a really cool idea. But I wonder if that would just create so much of an influx of bug reports that it would make it unusable. So I really don't know. Yeah, you can only report 3 at a time. Ooh, that's a good idea. So you can only have 3 active tickets at a time. That's smart. Do you plan on trying the alpha? Yeah, of course. I mean, I'm a professional video game player. Of course I'm going to do that. So, genuine question, why is anyone paying for this? Because I'm an adult, and with a discretionary expense account with whatever seems fun, Ashes seems fun. Okay. For sure. Do whatever you want with your money. Just don't ever tell me that anything is, like, don't tell me that a digital good created with artificial scarcity has value. Do not ever fucking tell me that. Because don't ever fucking... Yeah, you want to do that? You want to spend your money on it? Go ahead. You don't need to justify it to anybody what you want to spend your money on. But don't go and fucking tell me that that's not what's happening. They're smart, yep. No, you have to buy one key, purchasing the other key. You don't include beta access. The key is only for Alpha 2 access, so it's a bit extreme. 100k just for Alpha 2 access, yikes. Yeah, I'd gladly drop 120 if it gave me access to beta, not like this though. Yeah, Alpha keys should give you access to beta. This is not early access, it's alpha testing. Don't buy a key expecting a fleshed out game, because it's not going to be that. You can leave multi-level marketing, but the multi-level marketing strategies never leave you. Oh, right, because people say Steven did that. That's right. Why the fuck would you charge somebody $120 to test your unfinished game? That's backward as fuck and a big flag. Because people are willing to pay it, it's free money. That's spot on, to be fair. Yeah, and that's all they really... reading this thread, I feel like I'm going crazy. Why is anyone paying for this? It makes no sense. The devs are actual geniuses if they get people paying for this. I don't think it's even really that big of a deal. I just think that communicating it this way is I think it's intellectually dishonest. That's it. And I get mad at the people that are running excuses. This is why companies do this. There's people that go it up and they eat it up and they defend the company. There it is, man. Absolutely. It's capitalism and it's working. Why don't they pay me to alpha test their game? They can't afford to finish the game as it was envisioned. I think it's safe to say that we can all let go of hope and move on now. Well, I'll be excited, and I don't need to be hopeful for it. If the game comes out and it's fun to play, then I'll be very excited, and I'm looking forward to it, and that's it. Can't you deduct the purchase of Alpha Access so you can save it in Texas? Oh, yeah, I'll just write it off my taxes. It's not a big deal. Yeah, for sure. But that's the way that I feel about it. That's what I think about it. That's where I'm at. I know that obviously I have maybe an extreme opinion about this whole thing, but that is absolutely the way that I feel. I find it to be very exhausting and annoying that this happens. And I think that it would be better if you just communicated it more directly. So yeah, that's the way I feel about it. Maybe they want to target big whales like you? Yeah, but like how many streamers are there? Like 5, 10, 20, 50? Like, that's not that many. Why is everyone rage baiting and dooming the game eventually? I don't think what people are dooming, like, I'm not dooming the game. I'm just saying that I think that it's dishonest to say that it's not for access for the game. And I think that it's obviously based off of FOMO. And that's okay, but just don't tell me it's for anything other than that. That's the way I look at it.